Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good Friday. It is November 4th, 2 p.m. Eastern, and we've got a mix-up going on across markets. As I talked about yesterday in the broader market video, pretty much the FOMC is shaking up the snow globe, and now we're watching to see how all the little particles settle as different sectors are acting very differently in the current market environment. Just to summarize real quick, we've got big tech is leading the way down. Apple, Google, Amazon, very weak, and they are the most important stocks because over time they have developed very large holdings in ETFs like SPY and QQQ. And so they're the most important stocks in the market. And the weight of the tech sector has been large for a very long time as well. That's the weakest sector. Recently, we're seeing a little bit of strength, pockets of strength in growth names yesterday and this morning today, notably crypto altcoins, which obviously we're going to be talking a lot about here today. Notably, crypto altcoins have been strong since the FOMC reaction. And those are generally the highest risk, highest reward assets that are out there in the world. And so I find that very peculiar. And you could point to a number of reasons as to why that is. Maybe it's Elon Musk and the Twitter drama, and the fact that he's going to be incorporating crypto into Twitter. That's a little bit of a bullish tailwind. But overall, markets are still fairly weak. This is the NASDAQ futures chart on the daily time frame. And we can see we are just a few percent away from fresh fear lows, which would mean the lowest price we've seen of the year, 2% until we see that, and it would just be a weekly bear flag confirming. So the NASDAQ is very weak. And there have been times where I have been comparing Bitcoin to the NASDAQ, but because the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are differing a good bit right now, and if you look at the S&P 500, it's not strong, but it is stronger. So the NASDAQ needs a 2% drop to fresh fear lows. S&P 500 needs a drop of about 6%. It's a fairly notable difference between the two. The reason the S&P 500 is stronger is healthcare, energy, and financial sector. They're all holding on a lot better. And I will show you. This is XLF, much stronger overall. XLV, weak today, but overall stronger. Energy sector, definitely the strongest of the bunch. So those are having an impact on SPY. So if we just do a comparison real quick, Bitcoin divided by the NASDAQ, it's at the highest level it's seen. The strongest Bitcoin has been comparative to the NASDAQ in 4 months, a little bit more than 4 months. If we do Bitcoin divided by the S&P 500, it's not nearly up at that high from the last 4 months. So just want to make note that depending on what you're comparing it to, it's going to have fairly different readings. But we can say that overall Bitcoin, since the FOMC, has held on. Crypto in general has been stronger than stocks since the FOMC. The dollar is notably weak today. That being said, it's all about weekly EMA 12 here. We're still holding it. We're going to hold it this week as this candle closes in 5 hours. Next week, we would need to see fresh lows if we are going to see the dollar lose weekly EMA 12. So watching this little uptrend here, this was the FOMC pivot to the higher high. So we do have a little daily uptrend to be watching in the dollar. You could look at the dollar and say, okay, well, the dollar weakness today is why crypto bulls are standing out strong. And that may be as well. Silver's having a solid day. Wow, a lot stronger than I last looked. Silver's been going up the last few hours. So silver is responding really well. Silver's trying to get to multiple month highs. Gold is much weaker than silver. Miners having a real good day today. So takeaway from the last couple days, 2 days, is silver and crypto standing out as some lead bulls. Bitcoin had a break today, and we can see here on the right, this is what altcoins are doing today. Matic putting on a show, we'll look at it. But this was yesterday as well. Yesterday we had a solid wall of green in altcoins, and we're seeing it continue here. So Bitcoin had a key break of 21,000. Unfortunately for bulls, the double top of 21,000 broke right as the S&P 500 topped out. And just looking at that intraday, S&P 500 started the morning strong and then just completely rolled over and gave it all back with a notable 2% plus drop, which is a lot for the broader market, in a short period of time. And so that's weighing on Bitcoin, and that has to have us cautious because bull breaks with a lack of follow through mean watch for rising wedges. So even before we had topped out, I want to put on my bear glasses and say, okay, what is going to give me a red flag on Bitcoin breaking 21,000? And it's this right here. This is a rising wedge. And so if we cannot break resistance convincingly, which again, this has been, the pattern for Bitcoin in the last month and a half has been bull breaks that lack follow through. And look how many times it's happened. Bull break, straight into a pullback. Bull break, straight into a pullback. Bull break into a pullback. Bull break into a pullback. Bull break. Are we going to see that pullback? Certainly is a possibility. So we need to be watching this 12-hour rising wedge. And I personally added to my swing position. So I have not been trading crypto a lot this year, but just recently I had an entry on Bitcoin before the equilibrium break at 19.2s. And I doubled my position just before 21,000 broke this morning. And what I added is down $200. But essentially, why did I add? So I added confidence in the altcoins, and I added because the amount that I added, I can then be break even if my stop is under 20,000. And I'll pretty much just lose fees because my break even is like 20.1 right now. So I essentially wanted to say to myself, okay, if we break 20,000 from here, it's a big red flag for the bulls. That's a base of support that has been established and held during FOMC market weakness. And so if we were to break 21,000 and then come back down and break 20,000, I want to be back to all cash and I don't want any long positions because again, that's a big red flag for me. And so I increased my position size to say, okay, well, I could keep my half position size. And if I stop out on a break of 20,000, I make a small win. I make, an amount that I can easily make in a day of day trading. I don't really care about that amount. So I'm going to be looking for a bigger win. And I can have a larger position size with very, very small risk. So I pretty much wanted to max out the position size that I could have to keep my risk pretty close to break even. It's not exactly break even, but it's what I call a taco loss. I lose some tacos if I stop out. So essentially that's where I stand. I now have a position with a 20,000 stop if it breaks. And if it doesn't break and we keep heading higher, then it will be very worthwhile. So that's how I always want to trade in terms of giving myself possible reward and limiting that risk as much as possible. So on Bitcoin short term, we're looking for an hourly higher low. We're backtesting EMA 12, but the pullback is definitely more than the bulls want to see. And the bears would increase probabilities of a 12-hour rising wedge if we confirm an hourly downtrend as the result of the next bounce. Obviously, the best case for the bulls would be confirm a higher low and just keep that hourly grind going, keeping EMA 12 as support. So we'll see how it shapes up. Stop is set. And that's that. If the Bitcoin bulls are able to recover from here, 22.8 thousand is the next most important level. We are trying to get over weekly EMA 12 for the first time in many months. Still struggling. We're still right there. And we know that this weekly candle won't close for another 2 days until Sunday night. So we'll see what the weekend does overall. The dominance chart is showing us that altcoins are stronger than Bitcoin. So why did I add Bitcoin? Number one, because it's already a trade that I am in. And again, just now I don't have to think about my Bitcoin position again until I either stop out or we head to the mid 20,000s. And number two, I'm looking for the dominance chart to give us a weekly higher low compared to 38.8. But essentially, if I'm going to add any positions from here, it'll be on consolidation of altcoins, looking for potential back burner type trades, which we'll talk about in just a moment as we go through a bunch of individual altcoins, many of which have tons of space for 4-hour higher lows. They've got tons of space for daily higher lows. And so patient bulls are going to be waiting for those time frames to be looking for entries rather than, of course, chasing into this morning's strength. So I still have a sand position, but it's small. And so I'm going to be looking for potential entries on daily higher lows on names that have been showing relative strength on this move. So going to keep an eye. Looks like the S&P 500 is testing the low right now. So we'll keep an eye on the broader market. through this live stream, but short-term bear control. So no sign of an hourly high or low on Bitcoin as long as the S&P 500 keeps dropping. But again, we just keep seeing little relative strength. Bitcoin is not breaking the low of consolidation while the broader market just did. So just little instances of relative strength that we can continuously see. Ethereum also had a bull break with no follow through. And again, the clue, a clue was in, number one, hourly RSI getting up above 80. Again, certainly we don't want to be FOMOing in if hourly RSI is above 80 in this market environment. 15-minute RSI was above 80. 5-minute RSI was above 80. So just like we look for super stack, the Trader Pro's super stack alert, which is when we get a lot of time frames all aligning, we can be looking for that in both directions. So if we've got hourly, 15-minute, 5-minute, all real extended above 80, that should be take a little bit of a profit signal. Aggressive bears may look to scale in a little bit on that, but essentially no long entries. We certainly know that much. But what was the clue for Ethereum? Someone knows. The clue for Ethereum breaking daily resistance that was a bit of a red flag is ETH BTC did not break daily resistance. So this is an example where watching the BTC pairing can give you a little bit of a clue. That's a red flag. We know if it's going to be our strongest move and if we're going to stay in the spotlight with a tick for tick correlation, ETH BTC needs to break there for ETH USD break to have confidence and follow through. So keeping an eye on ETH BTC, it's still strong overall, but just a little bit of a clue. Matic has been putting on an absolute show. You look at Matic, some of our strongest altcoins right now are in monthly uptrends. This is a little monthly higher low and higher high. We topped out, we form a higher low, and now we have a higher high. And just like that, Matic and a few other names, Binance is another one of them, but it's the highest level that we've seen in 6 months. That's notable. And so I look at this and I say, okay, let's take the entire market into account right now. We're weak in the broader stock market. We could head to lower lows, absolutely. What would it take for Matic to see fresh fear lows? 74% drop. So I can look at Matic and say, I'm very confident this bottom is in. The broader market can drop 15% to lower lows from here. Bitcoin can drop under 17,000, and we're still not going to be close to Matic breaking 316, in my opinion. Bulls have just given themselves so much cushion to work with. So unless things fall apart, pretty much if Matic hits a fresh low from here, everything is in a lot of trouble because everything would be down massively for that to happen. So probability-wise, the probabilities dictate that Matic's bottom is in for this cycle. And however long that cycle is going to last remains to be seen. We can now watch longer-term resistances here, and it's just a question of how long can bulls maintain. We're in a daily, weekly, monthly uptrend. It took a long time to develop, but the bulls have every single trend in their favor right now. The hourly is an aggressive bear scouting a head and shoulders. If we fail to break the high, and if we roll over and break 111, that's an hourly head and shoulders confirming a downtrend, and we then zoom out and scout a 4-hour higher low with EMA 12 support as a guide. The last time the best entry for Matic was 15-minute oversold. 15-minute RSI dropped right to 30 at 92, and then we shoot up 28 to 30% from there. So we are seeing some individual names doing exactly what bulls want to see. Short-term oversold conditions marking the higher lows on longer-term time frames. So if I'm looking at Matic and saying, oh man, I want a position, but I can't buy up here, well, a bull's going to be watching for a 4-hour higher low and watching for 15-minute oversold conditions to begin scouting for it and establishing their trade plan for it. A really picky bull is going to say, I'm not interested until daily consolidation. And that's fine as well. Maybe it keeps running without you and you'll leave money on the table, but you won't be losing money. So a patient bull is waiting for daily consolidation. A more aggressive bull is waiting for 4-hour consolidation. A bull looking to take some profit is doing so right now. And an aggressive bear trying to top fish the high is trying to short this hourly head and shoulders. Matic BTC went from lead bull to a lead bear. That lead bear action lasted for about a week. And then obviously a very significant turnaround. And they had news, obviously, to back up the volume and the move behind it here. But look at Matic BTC. Matic BTC is trying to break the highest level that we've seen in like 16 months. So there's a key resistance level on the BTC pairing to be watching as well. Litecoin bulls have been putting on a show. Is this a dash to trash? I don't think so. Why don't I think this is a dash to trash? For me, dash to trash is a marker in a bull market. You're in a bull market, everything's running, you have overconfidence, and you have the weakest, junkiest names getting the last squeeze, the last drops out of that bull market. And the dash to trash happens, and then everything pulls back. So it can, you can view it and say, well, I don't trust this move because Litecoin is leading the way and Dogecoin and all that, and that's fine. But I personally don't view it that way. For me, the dash to trash, step number one is, are you in a bull market? And if the answer is no, then I don't call it a dash to trash. And Litecoin BTC, I mean, how long were we watching this weekly downtrend? Just the grind and watching the falling wedge, and is the reversal going to take place? And can we confirm the first weekly uptrend in years? The shift is on, and we are seeing Litecoin the strongest it's been compared to Bitcoin in the entire year. That's notable. So Litecoin's going to be looking for a 4-hour higher low, a daily higher low, and it's getting the highest price in 6 months. I mean, we have a little higher low and higher high on a longer term time frame now. So I'm not going to, scoff at this move that Litecoin bulls have put together, because they've done a really good job and it's meaningful to me. Hourly, little higher low uptrend. When we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out, scout the 4-hour higher low, watching EMA 12 support. Litecoin had a real nice tightening daily range that just exploded with volume behind it. And again, it's that LTC BTC pattern. We confirmed a weekly uptrend, and now we have a higher low and higher high, continuing that weekly uptrend. So we'll see how long that lasts, but very impressive for the Litecoin bulls. Binance continues to put on a show. Daily bull flag confirmed. Binance as well has a monthly higher low and higher high. Higher low, higher high, highest price in 5 or 6 months. So that's obviously notable. What marked the daily higher low? Didn't get to hourly oversold. Got to 30-minute, right at oversold, right around 30, but just an extremely strong coin. Again, the fact that Binance BTC has been hitting all-time highs for most of the year is extremely notable. One other note, to start the new year, I'm looking at going to Binance US as my exchange, but now Fidelity is offering, not in my state just yet, but Fidelity is now offering commission-free Bitcoin and Ethereum trading. And so someone asked me yesterday morning, are you playing crypto now that this is happening? And I had just placed a market buy to play an Apple oversold bounce, which worked out well for a nice little day trade win. And just my logic is, if I just did the exact same trade that I made on Apple, but I did it on any cryptocurrency, I'd be paying $2,000 to $4,000 in fees. And I'm only looking for $2,000 to $2,000 on the trade to make it the worthwhile trade. So I would have to double what I would be looking to make on that trade to make it worthwhile. So long story short is, I cannot trade crypto the way that I trade stocks because it's commission free. But if Fidelity offers, and Binance already is doing so, but ETH and BTC free trading, that's a big door opener for me. So I am excited to try that out, but it's going to take a while to roll out, I'm sure, to all these individual states. But just a side note there. So Binance BTC, weekly EMA 12 has been grinding all year, most of the year. Well, at least the last 6 months. Daily uptrend is our guide. And again, Binance is definitely, right now, the coins that I have as the lead bulls are Binance, Matic, clearly standing out. And that's really all I have as far as massive clear bulls in this market. There are others out there that, are in the running, but they're the ones that have clearly proven to me and solidified that they are the lead bulls. And Binance has been proving it for a long time. Matic more so recently with this last exclamation mark on their move up. But we're in an area without a whole lot of resistance here. There's definitely a lot of price action for Binance in the 400s. So as we approach the 400s, there's definitely a lot to work through here. But it's a really strong move. And it's also strong enough to say we're going to be looking for a weekly higher low to be the result of next consolidation on the longer term time frames. XRP had a nice spike. So in a recent live stream, I guess it was last week maybe, but I was talking about how Link BTC had a daily falling wedge that broke bull very nicely, and how XRP BTC was reminding me of that same setup. So if we go and compare the two next to each other, so this is the bull move that already took place on Link BTC and XRP BTC, same daily falling wedge, got that big spike today. Now it's only one day, and we can see that Link had a 3-day breakout into a confirmed trend change. So Link is obviously much more developed, but this is definitely getting our attention. So XRP BTC, can we keep this move going? Can we confirm a daily trend change once we top out? So XRP USDT, resistance, got to get over 559 to see weekly higher highs here. And continuation. And just need to see the spotlight continue. Need to see XRP BTC hold higher lows, confirm uptrends. Because again, it's just a quick spike at this point. It's similar to a short squeeze, just a fast, hard spike up. Once that spike tops out, can you keep the pressure on with the higher low, higher high? And so XRP is a nice hourly equilibrium here. High, low, lower high, higher low, double bottom at 485 support. Anything under 504 is just a lower high. But we can say that XRP is going to see a spike in volatility when this hourly equilibrium breaks later tonight. One little red flag for bulls is the fact that XRP BTC is clearly weaker than the US dollar pairing. Again, when we're in the spotlight, when a crypto altcoin is in the bull spotlight, it means the BTC pairing is either stronger than the US dollar pairing or doing the same thing tick for tick. Anything less, and it's not in a spotlight. So XRP BTC would have had to set the higher low, get a bigger bounce, and we'd be doing this right now. And we can see we confirmed an hourly downtrend. So as soon as we confirm that hourly downtrend and XRP USD did not, that shows us that the BTC pairing is a bit weaker. So it's just an initial little less than ideal red flag for XRP. Doesn't mean it can't see continuation, but it's something that we need to be paying attention to. Just a little clue. Again, whenever I'm in a bull position, as soon as I entered Bitcoin and added to my swing, the first thing I did was start scouting bearish setups. What do I need to be aware of? And it was that rising wedge that instantly stood out to me. And again, I know to look for that rising wedge because of the bull break with zero follow through. Dogecoin, bull scouting a daily higher low, is doing its own thing to a certain degree recently. And we got a little hourly uptrend. But we know we need a 4-hour uptrend if we're going to have confidence that a daily higher low is shaping up. So we have a downtrending support line we can be keeping an eye on right there. As far as resistance, I would say that we already broke bull. This is how I would have had resistance. We're now back testing it. A little bit of a falling wedge type pattern. But 4-hour. So I would call anything under 13.7 a 4-hour lower high. And I'm losing a little bit of clarity on the 4-hour chart. But pretty much wherever we top out, we then need the higher low and higher high. So Dogecoin bulls can be looking for a daily higher low. Long story short, daily EMA 12 support is going to be catching up a bit. Hourly RSI did get oversold and it did mark the bottom. So again, the strongest coins are seeing hourly oversold, or I should say seeing oversold conditions on different time frames, marking the time to buy. So Matic 15-minute, Dogecoin hourly. We know the next time Matic sees hourly oversold, bulls are going to be looking to buy that dip. So that is one trade to be looking for. In a bull market, when we have all-time highs, everything's looking for these short-term bounces to mark higher lows. In the current market environment, I only have confidence in the strongest coins. So Doge after the pump, Matic after the pump, Binance because it's a strong bull for a prolonged period of time. Those are the names where I'd be scouting the bounce higher lows with more confidence. Other names can see them. I'm just not as confident that they're going to get those bounces. There's other strong names out there. Atom, definitely with the daily higher high. Any name that's hitting a daily higher high from the bottom of the FOMC reaction is clearly standing out stronger. Uni did it. Sushi had a big old move up. So there's a bunch of stronger coins. And again, these are, you can look at any other asset since the FOMC, and crypto altcoins are the strongest asset since the FOMC, which again is just doesn't make sense. Fundamentally speaking, why is the highest risk asset performing the best after a broader market across the board bearish reaction to the FOMC? But that's what we're seeing. Doge BTC also looking for the daily higher low. Looks like it's a little bit weaker than the US dollar pairing. Need to see both pairings set the daily higher low at the same time to have some confidence. But again, there is a lot of space for a daily higher low on Doge to form. Reading the chat room now. Appreciate you tuning in. Can't have capitulation unless Bitcoin drops down under 17.5. I don't necessarily agree with that. EO's opinion is it's getting harder to earn dollars. That's why the Russell and growth stocks and crypto is pumping. If you're going to take a very big risk, you might as well take the biggest risk for quick returns. The market doesn't think that way. Maybe crypto traders do, but if you're looking at the macro market environment, that is not how traders and investors think. You got to have a screw loose in your head, and many crypto traders do. Yeah, it's either Binance US or Fidelity for getting off Coinbase. So Link BTC, good sign for the bulls to get that daily higher high. Link USDT also got that daily higher high. 854 has to break to get to the highest level that we've seen in the last couple months. 854 and then 950. If we reject from 854, it's just a very long, drawn out weekly equilibrium. So 854 is right there. 4-hour support is 799. If we fail 854 and lose 799 support, that's a red flag. That will make the double top fairly convincing. So bulls would really like to hold the 4-hour uptrend and get over 854 because that would confirm a weekly higher low and higher high. And that would have us testing the bounce highs. CHZ, definitely been getting some attention as well. 2828 is key. Anything under that is a weekly lower high. If I'm a bear, I want to see the price get as extended as possible for me to look for a top fish play. Again, just got to be cautious because these bull breaks are starting to lack follow through. Could be a 4-hour rising wedge forming here. So if I'm a bull, what is keeping me cautious is a 4-hour rising wedge. There is space for a daily higher low to be the result of the next pullback. It's just a question of, are we going to start seeing some profit taking and start seeing some weakness as we approach that 2828 resistance, considering we're up 50% over the last 3 weeks, heading to a key resistance level. So no red flags yet, but again, just like Bitcoin, I draw that rising wedge. I'm prepared for what would happen to shift momentum and see price action trend in the opposing direction. 2.3 is a key short-term support as well. But all about the 4-hour uptrend and 28.28 weekly resistance. If we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we zoom out, scout the daily high or low. Musk was getting the pump for the rumors that it was going to potentially be involved with Twitter. Top is in for now. Hourly RSI getting closer to oversold. So again, if I'm looking for a daily high or low, it's currently a daily inside bar, but if we're going to keep pulling back into daily consolidation, I'm looking for hourly oversold conditions to try and play a bounce. And again, my style of trading, if I'm looking to enter a position, I can use a day trade to try and enter a swing position. So let's just use this as an example. Let's say Musk gets to hourly oversold. Let's say it breaks 4 psychological into hourly oversold conditions, and I start scaling in 395 and 385 and 375, and I get 2 fills, 395 and 385. So I've got a 390 average in hourly oversold conditions. I know the result of that bounce is going to be an hourly lower high, most likely, at least initially. So on that hourly bounce, and hourly EMA 12 keeps dropping down, I sell half of my position at hourly EMA 12. Let's just say it's at 410. So now I've got a 20-cent gain. I sell half of my position from 390, and my break even is now 370. And I can put my stop under the low for break even or tiny risk. And if that's the daily high or low, and the hourly bounce follows through, and we get an hourly uptrend, and crypto bulls keep going, and Bitcoin breaks 22,000, then I just made an awesome entry. If it's not, and we bounce oversold on the hourly, and then we fade back down and it stops me out, I don't lose a thing. And I can still then be looking for a daily high or low, and I can try again with a different setup. But that is my style of using a short-term trade to position for something bigger if it plays out, where worst case scenario, I just stop out. And again, if I stop out break even or tiny loss, it just opens the door right back open to take that same trade again once it develops a little bit more. Whereas if I take a day loser of a trade, that trade's done for me. You know, if I try and find the daily high or low on Musk and I do the same hourly oversold scale in, and I got filled and my average is 390, and we drop down and it just keeps dumping, and I hit my maximum loss for the trade. Let's say it's at, I don't know what it would, 370. Then I'm done trying for the daily high or low on Musk because I took a decent enough loss. It's a day loser. You know, I allocated that risk. It's not a huge loss that's going to set me back, but it's a big enough loss where, all right, I'm not going to try it again, because the last thing I want to do is go on tilt and rack up 3-day losers by just trying the same trade over and over again. It is possible that funds are being forced to sell some of these major names, like Apple. Again, Apple just fell off a cliff the last 4 days. Amazon's been in free fall. Google has a good day today, but it's been in free fall. So there could be some forced liquidations from large funds. I mean, I certainly couldn't say, but Jim's speculating that I wonder if crypto is stronger because these coins aren't in funds that institutions have to sell off. QNT. So just by looking at the BTC pairing, I would say no, it is not in the strong coins group. QNT, USDT. Overall, I mean, it depends on your time frame, right? So if your time frame is from the bottom, is this one of the stronger coins? Absolutely. If your time frame is the last 3 weeks, absolutely not. It's one of the weaker coins. So time frame dependent. We are looking for a weekly high or low, absolutely, but both pairings need to put in a bottom with a trend change. It's worth watching for a potential falling wedge here as well. Worth keeping an eye on QNT for the weekly high or low. I'd be watching something like this. Because again, the bear breaks keep lacking follow through. We had a double bottom, 158, 159. We break it, but only by a few dollars, straight into a bounce again. So that's one, again, if you're having FOMO, or you're looking around and seeing all this crypto strength and saying who hasn't run yet, you're putting QNT on your list as, okay, let's watch for the rotation game. We know when bulls get confident, it's the rotation game where some coins pump and then they see some consolidation and take some profit, and then other coins get their turn, just like Doge pumps, and then days later, Matic pumps and Litecoin pumps. So this is one to watch absolutely to potentially get a turn for the weekly high or low to be set. All right, just a couple more I got to get rolling here. ADA, BTC, got to be cautious of a head and shoulders here. Bulls need to see a higher high to prevent a head and shoulders. Need to keep that 4-hour uptrend. So on a name that looks like this, we have to be cautious of a daily lower high, anything under where we came from, 44 cents in this instance. If we lose the 4-hour uptrend, that daily lower high is being set. If we keep the 4-hour uptrend, we can break that resistance. A number of coins had a big enough pullback to be cautious of a daily lower high being the result of the next bounce, but they pushed right through, Sushi being one of them. You know, Sushi needed 25% to see a higher high. That's a lot. That's a tall order to fill, but bulls succeeded. There are other coins where we have to be cautious of the daily lower high, like Sol. Any name that's not breaking to a higher high at this point, the 4-hour uptrend is key, because if we lose it, it's a daily lower high. So if I'm looking to be an aggressive bear, or if I'm looking to hedge long-term positions, I'm keeping an eye on the names that have not broken to daily higher highs, because that's a resistance level that I can play off of for a potential top fishing play. Oversold conditions for me are based on RSI. The setup that I'm taking on Bitcoin, and again, it's just, you know, what's my confidence? 50-50. So then why am I in the trade? Because I can position myself through shorter term trading to be in no risk, high reward. So what I am looking for, Bitcoin's hourly higher low is set. Nice. So that's now a key support, because if we confirm the hourly downtrend, that again, as I mentioned, that increases probabilities of that 12-hour rising wedge. Simple statement, if we hold 20.6 from here, bulls are just fine. So what I am looking for from my trade is, as I've mentioned, I'm looking for monthly EMA 12. I've got high hopes. And again, I don't have high confidence that we're going to get there. And so that's goes back to predicting versus reacting. So I reacted to a tightening range setup. I reacted to seeing weakness in the dollar. I reacted to seeing SPY confirming the first daily uptrend in 2 months. That led for me to establish a position that I have then been able to have risk-free. All in all, I don't have high confidence that we're going to head up towards the mid 20,000s, but I know it's absolutely a possibility on the table. So I want to position for that possibility, which is what I have done. So my target would be 20. Let's see, the month just started. Yeah, I'm looking for monthly EMA 12. We've got resistance up at 25.2 to be watching. But if this trade's going to go ideally, then that's what I'd be looking for. We'll see. Already did Doge. Last one is, I just saw it, what was it, AMP? Only because there's a heart, Stevie. AMP BTC, tightening range. Got to be cautious of a daily lower high. If we fail here, we're just going to keep tightening up. Has to break bull for that tightening daily range for the weekly higher low to be set. Trying to establish that weekly higher low, but that daily tightening range is key. And overall, it's whenever I see a chart like this, it just makes me, it's like such a turn off. Just the volume, some days with no volume, big upper wicks. Why it's such a turn off for me is because, I have confidence in my technical analysis, but you give me a chart like this and say, give me technical analysis, my confidence is reduced by less than half. Because something that is this a liquid doesn't respond to, it doesn't align with so many things. I get used to doing technical analysis on liquid, high volume things. And technical analysis is much less trustworthy and useful on things that are like this. But what we can say is bulls must break 535 or we're not going anywhere. Trying to build a base of support. So bulls are playing defense, but they're not going on offense at this point. All right, I appreciate you all tuning in. Let's get to 100 likes, please. We got 86. SPY got a little bit of a bounce going. That is helping. That's a pretty solid bounce. We're testing some short-term resistance. So hourly bounce trying to get underway here. So a little bit of short covering at the end of the day. But that's helping crypto bulls. Let's see if Matic hit a higher high yet. Still possible. Curious. So Matic, I've got no position here, but I'm very curious to see if this head and shoulders plays out or not. And so why am I curious? Because it's going to give me information. It's going to be head and shoulders example number 6,847 in my brain that I'm going to log away in terms of my database of experience. Even without having a position, it can go in there. All right. Love you all. Do good things. Have a great weekend.